Hello students, today we'll do chapter 5 of First Flight. The name of the chapter is The 100 Dresses, written by L. Bosser Esther. The 100 Dresses was written in the year 1944 by L. Esther, but this book is still as popular today as it was when it was published. The story is based on Esther's own experience. While in elementary school, she had a classmate who was teased because she wore the same dress to school every day. Esther never forgot the little girl and felt guilty for teasing her. She knew what it felt like to be a poor. Thus, to right this wrong, Esther decided to write the story The 100 Dresses, and this is the part 1 that we'll be doing in chapter 5. And the chapter is deeply moving and touches children who are moved by Vonda's forgiving nature. Just have a look at the introduction. The lesson The 100 Dresses, part 1, is about a girl whose name is Vonda, who claims to have 100 dresses. Her classmates used to make fun of her because what she claims is in contradiction to the fact that she was always seen wearing the same dress. Her classmates found her name to be funny. It was because everyone had easier names than Vonda Petronsky. Her name was different because she was a Polish girl, immigrant. She was a Polish immigrant who had come to an American town with her family, and she was poor and did not have many friends. She was quiet and was always seen sitting in the corner of the classroom. The truth about the 100 dresses that was revealed when she submitted her 100 drawings in a drawing contest, and they were the same 100 dresses she used to talk about. All of them were immensely beautiful. So, if I talk about the theme, what the author wants to convey through this chapter is it is the theme of forgiveness, which is dominant in the story, we'll find out. So, we'll be discussing about all these things after your lesson is over. So, let us start with the chapter The 100 Dresses by L. Esther. Before you read, students, just a question. How do we judge the people around us? By their money, wealth, and possessions? Or is there something of more enduring value to look for in a person? Generally, we are in the habit of assessing the people, judging the people only by the money that they carry, wealth, or any luxurious possessions that they have. And this story is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. Vonda Petronsky is a young Polish girl who goes to school with other American children in an American town. And these other children see Vonda as different in many aspects, in many ways. That we will be seeing in the chapter. Can you guess how they treat her? So before students we commence with the story of this lesson, we'll see that in the box here is some information given in the box, and it is all about the Polish American community when they were the immigrants who arrived in America in 1608. And just read, you have to read it on your own and try to find out more detailed information about these Polish American community, either from an encyclopedia or through the internet. So let us start with the chapter, the first paragraph of this chapter. Today, Monday, Vonda Petronsky was not in her seat. But nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Vonda sat in the next seat to the last seat in the last row in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling. Scuffling means noisy movements of the feet on the ground. Where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all, and nobody had ever heard any laugh out loud, and sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked, that means a funny sort of smile, but that was all. Nobody knew exactly why Wanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she smiled all the way from Boggins Height and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. So here is a description about Wanda Petronsky. That Wanda Petronsky, where she used to sit in the class, she used to sit in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room number 13, and only rough boys who did not get good marks they used to sit there, and it was this corner where there was most scuffing of feet was there. Scuffling means noisy movement of the feet, and most of the laughter could be seen here from here only when anything funny was said. It was also the corner where one could find most mud and dirt on the floor. So nobody knows that why Wanda Petronsky has chosen that seat to sit in the last row. Reason being, probably she has come from a place which is Boggins Height, and this is the place where poor immigrants used to live. And I had just now told you that she was an immigrant, Polish American. She was Polish American. Her feet were usually covered with dry mud. Nobody really thought much about Wanda when she was in the class. Today she was not in her seat, but no one noticed her absence. So let us start with the next paragraph. The time when they thought, they here are the children. The time when they thought about Wanda was only outside of school hours at noontime, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning, early morning, before the school began, when groups of 2 or 3 people, students or even more, would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. Then sometimes they waited for Wanda to have fun with her. The next day, Tuesday, Wanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who did not track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Wanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in school because she was very pretty and she had many pretty clothes and her hair was curly. She seems to be very pretty. So, and Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence was because Wanda had made them late to school. They had waited and waited for Wanda to have some more fun with her, and she just hadn't come. And they often waited for Wanda Petronsky to have fun with her. So students, here we see that Wanda Petronsky was just an object of fun for these students. Her schoolmates thought of Wanda Petronsky only when she was outside the school. Why outside the school? Because only outside the school they waited for Wanda to have fun with her. And after 2 days, Peggy and Maddie noticed that Wanda was not there in the class. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school and she had pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Wanda Petronsky, most of the children in room 13 did not have names like that. They had names easy to say like Thomas, Smith, or Alan, and there was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and people thought that was funny too. But not funny in the same way that Petronsky was. So, students, Wanda was a Polish girl who had immigrated to America, and her fellow classmates thought that Wanda Petronsky was a strange name because they had very simpler and easier names, American names, except only one boy who was Willie Bounce, and which they thought sounded funny but still lesser than Petronsky. They found her name to be long and unfamiliar. This shows that those children did not understand the diversity, and whatever they did was done out of their thoughtlessness, out of their immaturity level. So Wanda did not have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that did not hand right. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She did not have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. Did not hand right, did not fit properly. So Wanda was usually seen wearing a faded blue dress that did not fit her properly. Though clean, it used to look as if it is not being ironed, which clearly showed that Wanda belonged to a very poor family who cannot afford too many dresses. And from her tale about 100 dresses to her unfamiliar name, they found it all amusing. And when she used to watch little girls play in the ground, it was at that time other students surrounded her to mock her. Wanda, Peggy would say in a most courteous manner, as though she were talking to Miss Masson. Wanda, she would say, giving one of her friends a nudge, tell us. How many dresses did you had hanging up in your closet? 100, Wanda would say. 100, exclaimed all the little girls, and the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Yeah, 100, all lined up, said Wanda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk? I bet, said Peggy. Yeah, all silk, all colors. Velvet too. Yeah, velvet too. 100 dresses, Wanda would repeat sturdily, all lined up in my closet, and then they would let her go. And then, before she would gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. Nudge here means it's a gentle push. With no intentions of hurting her, Peggy used to ask the number of dresses Wanda has in a very polite and respectful tone. They used to make fun of her because they could not understand why she makes up that false stories about 100 dresses. They did all this while being ignorant of the fact that it could hurt her. No one would believe her when she said that she possesses 100 dresses all lined up in her closet. As the other girls screamed in astonishment, the little girls would stop playing in order to see what was going on. Wanda would affirm their queries that she had dresses made of velvet and silk too, and sadly, after she left, they all used to laugh at her. 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress Wanda had was the blue one, the one she wore every day. So, why did she say she had 100? What a story! How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. And cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike. Oh no. Every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the street, her eyes all dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. So it was very hard, it was very difficult to believe that Wanda, whatever Wanda said, because the only dress she was seen wearing was the only blue one, and that was also all faded. So no one was sure as to why she is, telling lies in the class. So the students started teasing her, and they were never rude to her. Thus, in the same tone, they continued asking her about the number of shoes she had, and just to exaggerate their, fun, they would say 60, each pair different, and it was Peggy's idea to, embarrass her like that, though she was polite. Peggy and Maddie, the inseparable friends, they were the last ones to leave the school, while Wanda would go back all alone with her dull eyes and behaved in a strange way. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell her that it's a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else, why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. So, Peggy, we see that was not very much a mean girl, and she had been portrayed as until now. She used to save the kids from whosoever was, being hurt, and could not stand even, animals getting badly treated. According to her, she was not being rude to Wanda. She thought it was very weird of Wanda to lie about the number of dresses she possessed, and if anything was weirder, it was her name. So, no matter how much they teased Wanda, they never made her cry. As for Maddie, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that she had was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand me down clothes, and thank goodness she did not live up on Boggin's height or have a funny name. So we see that Maddie did not like the idea of making fun of the number of clothes and accessories Wanda possessed, not because she cared about her, but because she was poor herself. She wore clothes that were given to her by someone else, but she was not as poor as Wanda, and she did not even live in Boggin's height and did not even have a weird name like Wanda. Sometimes, when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, Mary felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around and saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy had not invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all other girls started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Wanda Petronsky. So here we have seen that there is some traits, the character of Maddie, which is being reflected here. Exactly what Maddie was about, that she didn't feel very good, teasing Wanda. And when Peggy used to ask Wanda those questions, she would silently count the marbles in her hand, pretending to play with them. If that dress game had not been invented, Maddie would never have known about the very existence of Wanda. She felt uncomfortable not because she cared about Wanda, but because she was worried she could be the next, because she was also of the same category. Although she was not senseless enough to say she had 100 dresses, she still wished that Peggy did not tease Wanda. So today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Wanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent mindedly 8 times 8. Let us see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note. Because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, "Hey Peg, let us stop asking Wanda how many dresses she has." When she finished her arithmetic, she did not start a note to Peggy, absent mindedly distracted. So, students, Wanda did not come that day, and after having waited for her so long, Maddie and Peggy got late for school. Maddie was secretly happy that they could not get a chance to make fun of Wanda. She was lost in her own thoughts and could not study properly. All this time, she kept thinking about writing a note to Peggy, telling her to stop making fun of Wanda, which she did right after finished arithmetic. She wanted to write a note because she knew she did not have the guts to say it on her face. Suddenly, she paused and shuddered. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with new trimmings so no one in room 13 would recognize it. Shuddered here means to shake or to tremble, and disguise means to give a different appearance to conceal its identity. Now, students, while writing the note to Peggy, Maddie shook at the imagination of her being a new target for Peggy and the girls. She was afraid that they would ask where she got that dress from, which was actually Peggy's. And Maddie's mother got it transformed with her new laces and ribbons so that none of her classmates could identify it. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop having fun with Wanda. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore into bits the note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. Now she wished Peggy stopped having fun with Wanda on her own. Suddenly, she ran her hand through her blonde hair, just as a gesture to drive away all those thoughts. She said, all those thoughts. She said to herself, Peggy is the most liked girl in the room, her best friend, and so she could not be wrong. Thus, she tore and threw that note away. She was also afraid of losing her friend Peggy. As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived up on Boggins Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimmings, and she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. You would look like a Christmas tree in that, the girls had said in a pretended admiration. So, students, after Maddie had cleared her thoughts about confessing to Peggy, she started thinking about Wanda. She thought that Wanda was just another girl living in Boggins Heights who hardly spoke to anybody. She remembers when Wanda talked about her pale blue dress and jungle green dress paired with red sash. The girls would make fun of her and would say that she would rather look like a Christmas tree in that dress. So, thinking about Wanda and her 100 dresses all lined up in the closet, Maddie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, this contest consisted of designing dresses, and for boys, of designing motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least that is what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in a magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winners, and then they would know who exactly was the winner. So, while thinking about Wanda, students, Maggie began thinking about the drawing competitions. And here the boys were given the task to design the motorboats, and girls were given the task to design the dresses. Peggy was the obvious winner of that competition because she was the best artist in the room. She could copy exact pictures and recognizable portraits, and she was sure that Peggy would win, and results were to be announced the next day when everyone would know what is what. Next day, it was drizzling. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. And naturally, on a day like this, they did not wait for Wanda Petronsky on the corner of the Olive Street, the street that far away under the railroad tracks and up the hill led to Boggins Heights. Anyway, they were not taking chances on being late today because today was important. So, students, now the day when the results were to be announced, it was raining lightly, and thus the two best friends ran quickly to the school without waiting for Wanda because it was raining. So, on that day, they didn't wait for Wanda. Generally, they used to wait for her at the Olive Street that led to Boggins Heights, the place where Wanda lived. But they did not wait that day, even if it wasn't raining, because that day they would not have waited for her because the day was crucial. As on this day now, the result was to be announced that who is going to be the winner of this drawing competition. Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in, said Maddie. Of course we will win, Peg. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short and gasped. There were drawings all over the room, on every ledge and window sill, dazzling colors and brilliant, lavish designing, all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them, all lined up. These must be the drawings for the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled or murmured admiringly. So, lavish means here very gorgeous. The dresses were very gorgeous. So, when the best friends entered the classroom, Peggy asked Maddie if Miss Mason would announce the results or not, to which Maddie said obviously the results would be announced. Maddie told her that she believed Peggy would win, but to their utmost surprise, when they entered the class, there were drawings all over the room. It was so beautiful, so bright and brilliant that they left everyone in awe. These were the drawings for the contest, which were all lying on the wall. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason announced the winners. Jack Bagels had won for the boys, she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in room 12 along with the sketches by all the other boys. So now Miss Mason has announced the result and announced the winners after everyone had settled, and according to her, among the boys it was Jack Bagels who had won, and because he drew an outboard motor and which is already being displayed in room number 12, and along with that drawings made by other boys. And as for the girls, she said, although just one or two sketches are submitted by most one girl, and room 13 should be proud of her, this one girl actually drew 100 designs. All different and all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawings is worthy of winning the prize. I am very happy to say that Wanda Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. Now, she then talked about the girls' submissions of their drawing sketches. She mentioned that there was only one such girl who had submitted 100 designs, and each design was so beautiful that the judges felt that any out of them was worthy of the gold medal. Miss Masson very proudly announced Wanda as the winner of the competition. Unfortunately, Wanda has been absent from school for some days and is not here to receive the applause that is due to her. And let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may file around the room quietly and look at her exquisite drawings. The children burst into applause, and even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp on the floor, put their fingers in their mouths, and whistle. Though they were not interested in dresses. Look, Peg, whispered Maddie. There is that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, said Peggy. And here is that green one. Boy, and I thought I could draw. So she continued and sadly mentioned that Wanda has not been coming to school for the past few days, and hoping that she would be there the next day. So she instructed everyone to look at the flawless collection, to which everyone applauded, everyone admired and whistled, and Maggie and Peggy, even they both also saw these blue dresses that Wanda had talked about, and it was really very beautiful. That means Wanda was not lying on that day that she is having 100 dresses all lined up. She was actually talking about these drawings, these sketches, and which means that the drawings left her in immense admiration. So students, here we end the chapter, and after you have seen this video, you just go through the chapter from your book once again, and come up with your queries and doubts in the virtual session which we'll be having soon. Till then, goodbye everyone.